Now, good morning and Merry Christmas week and Happy Solstice and Happy end of Hanukkah, and here comes Kwanzaa, and here we are. So lovely to see all of you this morning, both here and online. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for being a part of this community, which is our very tangible reminder that we are magnificent. I know that it doesn't always feel that way, but that's why we're in community, to remind each other, to support each other, to love each other in a way that helps us to remember the truth of who we are. And that truth is only light, only love, only peace, all that is good, and a good sprinkling of joy, even this year. So there. All right, so this morning, we have Mary as our practitioner this morning. She's going to do our opening invocation and a reading for us, and then we will get started. So I invite you to take a deep breath and let yourself go to that place in the center of your being. That place within, which is that divine spark, that light, that flickering flame of love. That place where you know only peace and oneness.
So, we come together, taking a moment to silence ourselves. Remembering why we are here, not just for the social connection, but the spiritual connection. The reminder that God is our source. And we enjoy being with each other because we see the God within each other. It helps us experience God within ourselves. And so we are reminded of that this holiday, this time together, that we are here as one in spirit, as one in intention, honoring the spirit within ourselves, within each other, and in gratitude for this moment, this hour that we can spend with that intent. And so it is. So our theme for today is the light and the light within. Ernest Holmes says, and he's quoting this part, "I am the light of the world. Ye are the light of the world." And then in Science of Mind text it says, if one will have faith in himself, faith in his fellow men, in the universe, and in God, that faith will light the place in which he finds himself. And by the light of this faith, he will be able to see all that is good. And separately, on a physical level, light is clarity. On a mental level, it is understanding. On a spiritual level, we move from an intellectual understanding to intuition and ultimately to wisdom. Physically, we see obstacles in our path. Spiritually, we become aware of the obstacles for what they are, our own creation. To our own creations rather than to fall victim to them. We see a chair in front of us. We can walk around it or move it as we choose. To be in the light gives us clarity to choose to understand what is in the way and what do I choose to do about it. To be light is to be clear in our faith, to live, move, choose, think, and act from a point of being the divinity, the divine spirit that we are, with all the attributes we believe in. Thank you.
Thank you, Mary. We are talking about light today. We're talking about this holiday season. And what I've realized is that every season has its gifts. Right? We think of Christmas as a time of gift giving, or if you celebrate Hanukkah, that's 8 presents in 8 days. That always worked for me. We think of this overflowing of kindness and compassion. And how many times have you heard somebody say, why can't we live like this all year long? Because we build this season right now around the idea of our connections with each other. But you know, every season has its gifts. That means that it's the darkness and the light. Right? It's from the darkness of the soil that the seed begins to create the plant, which then comes above the surface of the earth into the light, where it is nourished and where it thrives. We move from the intense wildfires to the sprouting of the seeds, in other words, the breaking open of the shell casing for the pines and the sequoias to create new growth in the forest. It takes a hibernating earth, a winter of dark and cold, before the spring comes with its new growth, which then gives way to the fall harvest, and the cycle begins again. You see, we need it all. We need the whole cycle. We need the darkness and the light, the cold and the warmth. We need all of that for life to grow, to transform, to become, to allow life's creatures to thrive. We are all of that. We live in all of that. And all of it works together for good. We've been living in this season of separation. It's kind of how this year feels. Feels a lot longer than a year, doesn't it? And there's been this creative process that has been simmering all along. If you think about this last year, there are many, many ways in which you've had to be extremely creative to live your life. Because all the normal things have disappeared. The usual way of doing things, of going places, of getting together, all of these things have had to shift. And so we've had this birth of a new way of living out of this darkness of isolation on the physical realm. You know, the thing is, even 2020 is pulling us forward into a new way of living, into a new way of being. This year has changed the shape and the expression of our lives. I'm not the only one, right? You've all had to shift. I can tell you're all wearing masks. That's one. But on so many levels, we have had to make adjustments. We have had to be creative. We have had to find new ways to honor the connection that we feel, the interconnectedness that is the truth of life. So in this winter holiday season, you know, from the ancients forward, the indigenous peoples in every age, we have observed our world, and from those observations, we tell ourselves stories and extract meaning. So for example, those who watched the stars and the sun and the moon knew that the days would get shorter and the nights longer until a certain point in the winter, when once again the darkness would give way to more light. And so that celebration of solstice, with people surrounding a bonfire, a bringing of the light and warmth into life on the darkest night of the year, was a way of calling forth and celebrating that cycle that they found themselves in the midst of. It wasn't a giving in to the darkness. It wasn't a giving up. It was a call out to, there is light, there is warmth, I can build a fire, and we will celebrate because we already know that the light is coming again. And isn't that science of mind? We claim and give thanks for what we already know before we have it as if we already had it, because we already know that's what's going to happen. We've taken this symbol, this particular day of the year, and created a story and a meaning that serves us. It serves as a reminder to a greater truth of life. That bonfire led to the Yule log and the celebrations in the towns and villages of people bringing the evergreens into their houses, bring the outside in. When it looks like nothing is growing, in most places, not here, when it looks like nothing is growing, the evergreens are still green. And so bringing the branches into the house, the origins of the Christmas tree, putting the candles in the windows to say home and hearth and safe harbor, are ways of acknowledging that life is more than what it appears to be, which is cold and dark and endless night. When you light the Hanukkah menorah, and there are 8 days worth of candles with the shamash at the top, remember the tall one is the one that lights all the other candles. And from that story of this oil lamp lasting much longer than the actual oil that was in the lamp, this light beyond reason, this truth that is beyond what we think is going to happen, in celebrating the light, in taking that one candle and lighting the others, what is the meaning that we get from that? Part of the meaning is that if I share my light, I am not diminished in any way. Lighting another candle doesn't extinguish my own. We are all here to share the light, no matter the spiritual path or holiday that we are celebrating. We are all celebrating the same things. This season of Advent, every week, a candle is lit. And what is it doing? It is lighting a path to the ultimate consciousness that is being awakened in us. The birth of the Christ child, the story of the new awakening, the birth of a new consciousness, is told week by week, that when we build upon hope and trust and love and joy, we reach a place of celebration and we are enlightened. And so each candle is a light along the path to our own spiritual awakening. Metaphysically, light always means understanding, right? The light goes on, or lights are on but nobody's home, right? We have all of these expressions that say that when we have light, we can see more clearly. To see something is to understand something. And we move spiritually from understanding into a spiritual knowing, into a resonance of what is true, what is good, who we are here to be. Next week, we start the holiday of Kwanzaa, and every candle is a symbol of right living. In other words, how to bring the spiritual values into everyday life, to be in integrity, to support your community, how to live with each other, staying connected. You see, the heart will not be denied. We have to connect with each other. We don't have any other way to live. And when we are not feeling connected, most of the time we are not feeling good. We are not thriving. Now, I'm not trying to say that the introverts among us should go out and socialize, okay? There is a power in the silence. There is a power in the time alone. There is a power in being comfortable with yourself, in being creative in your own right. And even then, there is still this interconnected, unifying force that we are all a part of. And that love seeks to be expressed one way or another. Each symbol, each holiday, each spiritual path is meant to bring us home to ourselves. And the Christmas story is one way of illustrating that journey. A young couple returns to their birthplace to be counted for the census. They return to Bethlehem, the house of bread, the place of sustenance, the place where nourishment comes from. And while they are there, a child is born. Children are born every day. But the reminder of the story is that each child is a child of the Most High. Life given into form from all that is good, all that is life, all that is beautiful, right here in this baby. No matter how it's dressed, no matter how impoverished the surroundings, that light exists within the child. And those who are wise gather round, bringing gifts of the world which match the value of that inner light, bringing gold and spices, the riches that the world had to offer, being brought in recognition and appreciation for the light that this child represents. Through the darkest desert, a star shines in the east. And the east is where the dawn happens, where the light comes. Where the light comes out of the night, bringing us into the day, is always in the east. And that star shines even in the darkest night. We are guided back to the light, back to the awakening. The shepherds follow the call of the angels. The angels are messengers of God. The Spirit speaks to us all the time through each other, through the events that we come across, through the books that we read and the music that we hear. And in all ways, we are constantly being shepherded to the light if we know how to listen, if we are willing to be awake and aware. When we come together, we do so to pay homage to each other. As Mary read in the reading, it's about that light within that we see within each other. That is what we connect with. And you know, that light is not dependent upon how far or how close we are, is it? That love that we are happens whether we're locked in our house for 6 months or hosting Thanksgiving dinner for 40. Not this year, but other years. You see, we're connected whether we see it or not. Our job is to see it no matter what. To pay homage, to honor, to be grateful, to appreciate the messages we do receive, the connections we do feel, the love that we do have, the love that we receive. And even this season of 2020 is calling us forth into a greater light. Look at the gifts of this year. Some of them are loudest: the calls for justice, the desire for unity, for healing. Look at the creativity that's come out of this year. Right? I have this picture in my mind of the Italians out on their balconies in the heart of the shutdown singing to each other or playing their instruments for their neighbors. I can remember seeing on the nightly news the cul-de-sacs of Orange County filled with people doing little driveway concerts, singing and playing safely apart from each other and yet still together in community. My 10-year-old niece had birthday greetings delivered by car. There was a parade of cars with balloons and signs and presents left on the curb. Now, not what we are used to. Not what I think of when I think birthday party or graduation. Do I think about waving at somebody in a car? And yet we adapt, don't we? We find ways. So what I want to know from you is what's happening in your life for Christmas that is a new and creative way of being together in some way. What's new and different? What are you doing?
Virtual white elephant.
A virtual white elephant gift exchange. Okay, I never would have thought of that. What do we have back here, Mickey?
My granddaughter, and this is for people who have little kids.
For little kids?
But my granddaughter, her and her husband took their little boy, it was his birthday, to everybody's house, the grandmother, grandfather, the aunts and uncles, and so on. And then they had a Zoom show at their house. They brought all the gifts to their house.
And then showed him opening.
They showed it on Zoom, so we got to see him with all his gifts.
Oh my goodness. So let me tell the people on the camera real quick.
And then that's what they're going to use for Christmas.
Okay, so for the little one's birthday, they went from house to house and picked up gifts from aunts and uncles and grandparents, brought them back to their house with their little boy, and put him on Zoom opening their presents so everybody could watch him open his presents. They're going to do the same thing for Christmas. Yeah. How else are we creative? What else is happening in your world that's different this year but still brings you together? Anybody? Yes, Graham.
I've opened up my house beginning last summer to 4 men who are living with HIV and were homeless. So we're celebrating in the house.
So the household that's been created this year is celebrating together for the holiday. Yeah. Yeah. So you see, Harry, did you have something?
Son Michael lives in a boarding care.
Right, his son is in a boarding care.
He's not allowed home visitation.
Right, can't come home right now.
And he's been really looking forward to that.
Yeah.
But we're allowed to visit him for 15 to 20 minutes.
Okay, so
So we're going to be doing a little trek on Christmas Day.
Christmas Day trek to the boarding care where their son lives. He can't come home for the holidays because he lives with other people, so you can't go out and come back in, right? But there's a 20-minute window where Nancy and Harry can go see him. And so you see, we find ways, the creativity that comes out of the darkness of isolation and shutdown and political divide and calls for change, and the things that have felt like they have divided us have actually nurtured ways in which we can be more creatively expressive of the love that we have. Yes?
We all think that shopping is very hectic this time of year. I had a great experience yesterday. I walked into Target, and there's a person that is the concierge. I named her that.
Okay.
I said, this is what I'm looking for. She said, aisle 25, on the end cap, you'll find it. 5 minutes later, I walked out of the store.
So shopping is not so hectic this year because everybody's adapting. So Harry says Target has a nice person there at the front. He named her the concierge, directed him to exactly what he needed, what he was in there for. He was in and out in 5 minutes. So you see, we can't help but reach out and connect. And we are creative. So what I would like you to do right now is take a moment, close your eyes, and I want you just in your mind to picture or list whatever you're grateful for right now. Where is there gratitude in your life right now? Let that sense of thankfulness fill you up. I want you to see it as light and feel it as warmth. And now I want you to shift slightly, and I want you to think about, what do you have to share, to give, to offer this season? What do you have to share? And as you see yourself sharing yourself, your gifts, whatever that might be, a conversation, a smile, a kindness, a helping hand, a listening ear. As you see that sharing happening in your own mind, I want you to see the light that is within you spreading out into your world, touching the people that are important to you, filling the spaces where you spend your time. And then everyone in your mind that you have touched with light and love, see them radiating that light out into the larger world. And then again and again, until you can see the light here from outer space. And then bring that sense of light right back here. Open your eyes and look at the light that is physically here. And I want you to know that this season has its gifts for you. Look, there are things for you to open. You know, there are things that are warm and filling and reasons to be grateful and things you can share. And all of these gifts bring you home to yourself, home to the love that is real. Sri Aurobindo says, open yourself to the new light and walk with a joyful step on the path. There are gifts this season, in every season, right where and who you are. Namaste. So I invite you to join me in a healing prayer today. As we take a moment and go within once again to that divine spark, to that heart space where we know our own love and light and warmth. We recognize this as the presence of the One, the energy of all life, the givingness in and to and through all things. This light of consciousness that is the very ground of all being. This is the light within me, within every person here. This is the power of life that is life itself, animating all things, all people, all places. And this life is a life of wisdom and wholeness and joy. It is a life of deep peace and great delight. This is the life that we are. And so from this place of knowing that we are all children of the Most High, I speak a word of wholeness and healing for those who are struggling this holiday season. I speak a word of wholeness and healing, of love and support for the health workers on the front lines, for their support staff who clean the rooms and man the parking lots, for those in our grocery stores, for our first responders, for every person who is a caregiver for someone in their life. I speak a word of wholeness for any and all who are suffering from illness this holiday season. For what I know is that life is always giving, growing, expressing in ways which lift and uplift. And I call forth that healing energy to be present, that we might be aware of its light in everyone, in every situation. That anything which appears to be illness simply fades away as darkness disappears before the light. And that love is the guide for each and every one of us as we reach out, as we support, as we care for, as we give, as we receive, as we give again. That this life, this light, this warmth, this love is in and through and as all things, and brings its wholeness and peace with it. And I am grateful for the power of community to know truth, grateful for the gifts of health that are already received, grateful for the love and support of community coming together to support those who support us, and grateful for the new consciousness which is being welcomed this year in this season as the light returns to the earth. For this and so much more, I give great thanks. And I release this word into the law of mind. For what I know is that in the mind of God, wholeness is, love is, peace is, and that this expression must show up in and as life itself, unfolding in space and time for each of us, for all of us, in ever greater ways. And so it is. All right, I offer you an affirmation to say with me. Today I celebrate the light of the world.
Today I celebrate the light of the world.
The awakening of a new consciousness.
The awakening of a new consciousness.
In me and in all people.
In me and in all people.
Love and peace shine forth.
Love and peace shine forth.
And so it is.
So it is.
And so it is. All right. Thank you all. All right, a few invitations here. Wednesday night, this Wednesday, we're doing our candlelight service. Of course, we're doing it differently because it's 2020 after all. We are going to convene here in this parking lot. We invite you to bring your cars and stay in them. We're going to make a circle around. You're going to be in your car with only your family members, all right? Because we don't want cooties going to anybody else, so keep your cooties to yourself. If you want to sit just outside your car on your little camp chairs, that's fine. Bring your blankets and your hats. It's going to be dark. It's going to be cold, so be ready. We will sing along to Christmas carols. Now, I know singing is not cool with COVID, but you are going to be, remember, in or at your cars at least 6 to 10 feet apart because you know your cars are kind of long. And you can sing Christmas carols. And don't worry, nobody can hear you because you're going to be too far apart. So go ahead and sing out. We'll have a very short talk. Mostly it's an opportunity just to have a little fun safely and to touch back into that place that gives us such great joy. I had a picture pop up on Facebook of the sanctuary with all the candles on the tables and the Christmas tree and the lights, and I about lost it. But you know what? We'll be there again. And this year, we're just going to make it work, and we're going to have a little fun, and we're going to be safe. And my friends, after that, I do not know that we will meet again in person until things get a little bit better in LA County. Today was a little bit of a push. That's why I'm encouraging you to really keep your distance. If you're going to talk to each other, this is about as far as you should be from each other. Okay? So be safe, be well, and come together when and as you can. And know that we are getting through this, that hope and trust is not misplaced, that there is movement forward, and even if we pull back a little bit more for a couple more months, we will once again be together inside our sanctuary. Yes, Graham?
Will it be at 7 o'clock?
Yes, we're going to do it at 7. I think it's just simpler. It's not going to be any lighter at 6 or 6:30, so we might as well do it at 7. And like I said, we'll have a little goodie bag for you that will have song sheets in it, and a little baby plastic tea light, so no flames required. We don't want anybody setting their head covering on fire. All right. Plastic tea lights. We will end with Silent Night like we always do. All right. But we'll have a little goodie bag for you for people in the car. And I just, if you feel safe, come. If you think you can stand to be close but not too close, then come. And let's share a little joy and have a little fun. And not too long so we don't freeze to death, right? I also want to remind you that the World Peace Service is still taking place at 4 a.m. on New Year's Eve day. So that's the morning of the 31st, so that's before your all-night New Year's Eve party that you're not having this year because you're not inviting a bunch of people into your house, right? Go like this, okay. But the World Peace Service is still happening. Just think, you can wear your jammies and stay in your own house. The only thing is you'll have to make your own pancakes afterwards because we won't be going out to breakfast. It'll be virtual. It'll be on Zoom, similar to what we do for Wednesday nights. My friends, if you are not taking part in the online, if you're not sure how to do that, or you just need a little help, or maybe you did it once and now you don't remember, please, please, please let us know. Mary and Patty and a few others of us would be happy to make sure you're all set up and ready to go. So all you have to do on the early morning is click the button and you're there. All right? Let's see. We'll talk about whether or not we can Zoom or Facebook Live the candlelight service. I'm not sure how that would work because we'll be outside here kind of moving around. So I'll see if there's a way to do that. We might be able to. We'll see what we can do. Okay, let's see. We had a lovely remembrance service last Wednesday night via Zoom. We took a moment and just paused to remember the people that we miss at the holidays. And it was just a little bit of sharing and a nice sense of community and just a place to pause. It was really lovely. So thank you all who participated in that. Next, not this Wednesday, that's the candlelight. The following Wednesday, we have a beautiful service that you can see online. It's a Taizé service, which is a combination of music and poetry and readings and a little bit of meditation and then some more music. There's singing bowls. It's a lovely way to sort of end the year. That'll be on the 30th, and again, we'll have announcements going out for that. I want to thank all of you for making your end-of-year contributions. We are in good shape at the end of this year and moving into next. We are looking to make sure that we have our space ready for our return. So any and all contributions are going to that end. We are able to sustain ourselves. We have been able to all year, and it's just nice to have a little push. Actually, it's been a big push. So thank you all very, very much for keeping this community alive, because you are this community, and we are doing well. So thank you for that. Say with me our prosperity affirmation, those of you that remember it, although it's been a while. Divine love through me blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I give, and all that I receive. I am prosperous now, and that is the truth of us. So be well. Hope to see you. Some of you, how many of you think you might come on Wednesday? Got some cars? Okay, that's good. Then we will be here, and we'll see some of you then, and the rest of you will see online. And if I don't see you before, Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, and know that you are loved. Namaste.